Have you ever wondered why one man is trusted in minutes, while another feels invisible around the very same women? Today, you'll pick up signals that broadcast calm authority without acting, without posturing, and there's a quiet test. Almost no one knows it's happening, that will be revealed near the end. Start with a quick win. Before speaking, release a slow exhale through the nose, shoulders dropping a finger width, gaze softening to the bridge of the other person's nose. Then speak one grounded sentence about the present moment, not about yourself. You look focused. Take your time. This two-beat pattern, exhale, simple observation, reassures the nervous system on both sides. It says, there's no threat here. A body tells the truth before a mouth does. Most people try to win trust by adding intensity. Add warmth instead. Fewer words. Slower cadence. A steady breath is a steady signal. Rule: slow is safe. Picture a hallway at work. A colleague pauses with her laptop hugged against her chest like a shield. You stop an arm's length away. Angle your torso slightly so your shoulders aren't squared like a wall. Exhale and deliver one sentence that names the shared task. Let's clarify the brief so this lands clean. Notice what you didn't do. No reaching, no peering down at the screen, no solving before permission. You offered containment. Trust begins there. Archetypally, women track the difference between the grounded king and the hungry performer. The king stands with time behind him. The performer begs the moment to approve him. Jung called it projection, old pictures the mind throws onto new faces, and it cuts both ways. When a man projects neediness onto the moment, he sees tests where none exist. When a woman senses instability, she projects risk. The antidote is not charm. It is composure that can be felt, not argued. Epictetus taught the dichotomy of control. Some things depend on you, others do not. Heartbeat, breath rhythm, posture, word choice, these depend on you. Her history, her day, her preferences do not. Live that line, and your presence becomes light but firm. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one, wrote Marcus Aurelius. The body version is simpler. Stand, breathe, speak from what you see. A micro story. A coffee shop at 8:12 a.m. A man pushes through the door with a smile stretched too wide. He fires questions over the counter like darts. The barista's shoulders inch toward her ears. A second man enters, pauses just inside the threshold, scans the room like a lifeguard, steps aside for someone leaving, then moves to the line. No smile forced, no brightness that doesn't match the hour. Which one would you ask for directions? Exactly. The entrance is the handshake of the whole interaction. Rule: arrive like weather, not like noise. Another quick practice: the 3-second stillness. When someone finishes speaking, count 1, 2, 3, then answer. Those 3 beats allow subtle data to land. Tone, micro-expressions, meaning beneath words. They also show restraint, which reads as safety. At a family dinner, your sister says, "It's been a long week." Count to 3. Then, do you want to vent or keep it light? You offered choice without demand. Choice is an anchor. Anchors earn trust. Here's a sharper question. What happens when a compliment feels like a trap? It's when praise carries an invoice. Now she owes attention. Delete the invoice. Say what is true without hooking for return. That presentation was crisp. Full stop. Rule: give without fishing. Shadow work matters here. Shadow means the traits a person disowns: anger, fear, tenderness. When a man disowns his need for approval, it runs the show from the basement. When he acknowledges it, yes, that's alive, he stops smuggling it into every interaction. Women don't trust what leaks. They trust what is named and contained. Quietly owning the shadow turns a haunted house into a home with doors. A friend shares that her manager keeps checking in late at night. The texts are soft, but the timing is not. Boundaries are signals. You answer, "Would you like help drafting a message about response hours?" Notice the order. Preference first. Action second. You do not seize the problem to perform heroics. You offer tool and agency. Rule: protect agency before offering help. On social media, language tilts signal faster than any filter. Public comments that treat women as a monolith erode trust in private. Precision is kingly. Speak to the person in front of you, not a category. You is respectful. You people is lazy. If a man speaks to groups as if they are mirrors for his frustration, his presence will be felt as a storm, not shelter. Fix the words. The weather calms. A terse line to remember. Hold eye contact to comfort, not to conquer. If the eyes are hard, soften them. If the gaze is slippery, slow it. Eyes tell the weather. Another. Let silence do half the work. Silence turns performative charm into clean attention. In a first date, that might sound like, "Take your time. There's no rush." Pace is a promise. Here's a scenario from work. A junior teammate makes a mistake on a report. In the meeting, you say, "We'll correct it by noon." After, "Let's review the checklist so it's easier next time." No public autopsy, no sarcasm, no micro-shame. The room exhales. That's trust expanding because dignity was protected. Calm is contagious. A final seed for later. There is a small, nearly invisible test. Many women run within the first minute, not consciously, but reliably. It happens between the doorframe and the first chair. Pass it, and the whole tone shifts in your favor. Miss it, and you'll work twice as hard for half the trust. That test arrives soon. A doorway tells the story before a single word. Picture a living room, low light, conversation already rolling. You step through the frame and pause one heartbeat, just enough to adjust your weight and let the room see you without being demanded to respond. A small nod to the host, a soft, "Good to see you." Then you angle your body so no one feels boxed in. You've entered, not invaded. This is how trust begins, with space given, not space taken. Rule: enter on a breath. That breath is the anchor for attunement. Attunement means staying aware of another person while remaining rooted in your own center. It is the opposite of fawning, which is the nervous habit of pleasing to avoid conflict. Fawning abandons self to keep the peace. Attunement keeps self and offers peace. Women read the difference instantly. You show attunement when you ask clean permissions. Is now a good time? Want to walk or sit? Do you prefer direct or gentle feedback? Choice reduces threat. Choice builds trust. Here's a workplace scene. A teammate rushes in late and drops a messy update. Old reflex reaches to correct and control. The steadier move sounds like this. "Let's take 5 minutes to map what's missing. After that, we can decide on next steps." You set a time box. You name the task. You invite collaboration. Containment, not criticism. Notice the absence of performative frustration. The room settles because your signal says, "Nothing is on fire. We can think." Rule: ask before you add. Another scenario: a first date. The host greets you at the restaurant. There's a 10-minute wait. You scan your partner's face, rather than arguing with the estimate. 10 minutes works. Would you rather stand outside or grab a bench? You oriented to her experience, then offered options. If she says, "Let's stand outside," You open the door and let the cooler air do part of the calming. You did not entertain the staff or push for special treatment. You protected the tone. A sharp question. What do you do when a test arrives, disguised as play? A tease like, "You seem very sure of yourself," delivered with a sideways smile. Answer with a smile that reaches the eyes and a line that keeps dignity on both sides. Sure of what I value. Curious about what you value. You neither defend nor dominate. You redirect toward substance. The test ends because you refused the performance contract. Rule: keep it playful, keep it clean. On text, trust is time and clarity. Time means you do not yank for instant replies. Clarity means plans with 3 parts: when, where, what. Wednesday, 7 p.m., quiet tea place on 3rd. If this week is heavy, another time works. You added an exit ramp before being asked. That single sentence says, autonomy respected. If a misstep happens, and it will, the repair is simple, not theatrical. That came out sharp. The intent was respect. Let me try again. Name impact, state intent, correct course. Repair is not an essay. It's a clean move, followed by consistent behavior. Women trust repairs that are short and repeated, not flowers wrapped around the same old mistake. Rule: own the impact. Bring in the Stoics again. Seneca warned against living at the mercy of moods. Practice now protects later. So train in small moments. The traffic light, the checkout line, the slow computer. Each time you release impatience, you store calm you can spend in conversation. By the time you're seated across from someone whose history has taught vigilance, your body already knows what to do. It lowers the temperature instead of raising it. The psyche has old alarms: fight, flight, freeze, fawn. These are normal survival responses. When someone's shoulders tighten or the voice lifts half a pitch, assume nothing, but respect the signal. You can say, "We can slow down or pause. Either works." That sentence is a bridge. Bridges carry weight without making a show of it. Another pattern interrupt. What if she goes quiet? Not disinterest, just a soft retreat to evaluate. Fill the silence? No. Let the quiet breathe. Then offer one careful question that doesn't pry. What would make this feel easy right now? If she answers, follow that answer, not your script. If she shrugs, you can lighten the moment with a small reveal. Ease for me is simple plans and plenty of air. You modeled without instructing. Safety rises. A 3rd scene, family this time. An aunt prods. So, when's the real commitment happening? Old reactions clash. Defensive joke, hard boundary, disappearing act. The grounded response: I'm choosing steadiness before speed. You keep your tone level and your attention warm. Then you pivot to a neighborly topic. Boundary plus warmth. The conversation learns its limits without learning resentment. Rule: boundaries pair with warmth. Archetypally, remember the 4 energies: king, warrior, magician, lover. The king orders the space. The warrior moves decisively. The magician sees patterns. The lover connects. When trust is needed, lead with king and lover. Order and attunement. The magician offers insight only when asked. The warrior stays sheathed unless harm appears. Women trust men who don't audition their power, like a talent show. The most convincing competence is the kind that doesn't need to announce itself. Let's talk voice. A lower, slower cadence calms without manipulation. The goal isn't a fake baritone, it's weight on the ends of sentences. Finish your line. No uptalk, no racing. If a laugh arrives, let it. Laughter is a pressure valve, but never hide behind humor when truth is required. Humor opens, truth clarifies. Rule: finish your sentences. There is a quiet ritual that multiplies trust. in rooms with many people. Orient to the environment first, then to the person, then to the task. Eyes sweep the exits, the tables, the faces. Next, you greet. Then you ask the first simple, shared question. Where should we start? This small sequence tells a nervous system. Someone is tracking the whole, not just themselves. Remember the earlier promise of a silent, older-than-speech signal? It lives inside this ritual. The exact mechanism arrives later. For now, carry this. Permission, precision, proportion. Ask permission. Speak with precision. React in proportion. Most men overreact or underspecify. Both erode trust. Keep the ratio right and you will feel the shift. A softening around the eyes, a longer exhale, a freer laugh. That's trust arriving on quiet feet. Trust is not a promise spoken by the mouth. It's a temperature set by the body. Temperatures shift with tiny behaviors. The way a chair is chosen, a question is framed, a refusal is delivered. These are small, repeatable moves. Travel light and precise. Rule: options beat pressure. Consider seating at a cafe. The host waves toward a booth half hidden behind a pillar. You glance at your companion's eyes, then choose a seat that leaves an open view, not a corner that feels boxed. You ask, window or aisle. Then you set your phone face down and off the table. The table learns your priorities without any speech about values. Safety before spectacle. Presence before polish. Another pattern interrupt. Never argue with a feeling. Feelings are weather. Arguments are umbrellas. If she says, "That felt off," resist the courtroom. Try, heard. What would repair look like? You didn't litigate. You invited clarity. Most conflicts grow because two people prosecute their intentions and ignore the impact. Rule: impact outranks intent. On text, a calibration move. Propose, then release. Saturday, 4 p.m. Quiet park near the library. Rain plan is tea inside. If this week is full, another time works. Propose specifics, then give air. The exit ramp is not weakness. It is consent made visible. Women trust consent in the small because it foretells consent in the big. A work scene under pressure. A client drops a last-minute change. One man huffs, performs outrage, announces his burnout like a siren. Another says, scope shifted. 2 options, adjust timeline or reduce features. Preference? The second holds the frame. Name the reality, present choices, invite decision. Storms burn fuel. Frames, save it. Rule: frames over flares. Projection distorts perception, seeing an old story on today's face. When a woman once met control, later calm, may still be read as threat until proven otherwise. The countermove is predictable kindness. Predictability is coherence over time. Texts that match tone. Promises met without flourish. No sudden gear shifts to punish a delay. Coherence is less sexy than charm and twice as trustworthy. Here is a simple triad that stabilizes early conversations. Notice, name, and narrow. Notice something true in the environment. Music's a touch loud. Name a shared preference. Quieter helps to think. Narrow to an actionable choice. Bench outside or corner table. The brain relaxes when the world is organized into choices that protect dignity. Rule: organize the scene. What about touch? Ask cleanly, never coy. At greeting, handshake or hug works. Your call. If touch later feels natural. Is touch welcome? 4 words, complete respect. Consent delivered cleanly raises trust, faster than any compliment delivered cleverly. Compliments can borrow power. Consent returns it. A family example. A relative asks invasive questions. Old habit reaches for a clever dodge. The steadier move is plain. Skipping that one. Happy to talk travel plans. Boundary with redirect. No heat, no essay. Heat turns boundaries into fights. Essays turn boundaries into negotiations. Rule: short boundary, warm pivot. Jung's term persona is the mask worn for the world, useful, but not the face. Over-reliance on a charming persona exhausts the room. Underuse makes the room do the emotional labor. Individuation, becoming more whole, lets you adjust the mask without losing the face. When a woman senses that the mask isn't glued on, that it can be set down without collapse, trust rises. The human behind the performance is the one worth knowing. A micro story from a late train. The car is crowded, the air stale. A man spreads his bag across 2 seats and stares anyone down who approaches. Another tucks his bag under, shifts his knees to create passage, and makes room with a nod that neither invites nor repels. Which presence calms a tense car? Space offered is respect offered. Even strangers can feel the difference. Counter moves for common tests. If teased, sure of yourself, aren't you? Answer with play and substance. Sure of core values, curious about yours. If baited into oversharing, tell everything about past relationships. Keep dignity without stonewalling. Happy to share what's useful. Gossip doesn't help. If pushed for instant decisions, use the time box. Decision by tomorrow noon. Inputs welcome until 10. Rule: curiosity before certainty. In conflict, use the neutral mirror. Here's what was heard. Here's what was meant. Here's the current need. Then propose 2 paths. Quick fix now, or deeper repair later. Many men try to win the moment and lose the week. Trade victory for stewardship. Stewardship is leadership minus theatrics. A friend group scenario. Plans swirl. Nobody decides. Someone says, whatever. That word hides resentment. Offer the cadence that cuts fog. 2 options: gallery first, then dinner, or dinner then short walk. Preference: groups trust the one who clarifies without commandeering. Clarity is a service, not a seizure of power. Quote to pocket from Marcus Aurelius: if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. In practice, no brittle half-truths to appear impressive. If something is unknown, say unknown. If a plan is tentative, say tentative. Ambiguity labeled is safer than false certainty. False certainty asks the other to carry the later disappointment. Another sharp question: how does a person hear no and respond with more trust, not less? Answer: by treating no as information, not insult. Heard: that option is closed. Alternate route: no negotiation, no soft pressure, no groan. No, respected today becomes a stronger yes later, or a clean parting that preserves reputation. Rule: dignity on both sides. Online signals matter. Public respect precedes private reliability. Speak as if every comment will be read by a future self, whom you must respect. Avoid vague jabs at women these days. Precision is kingly. In this situation, this behavior concerns trust. Specific beats sweeping. Sweeping statements avoid thought. Specifics prove it. And then the old promise returns. The hidden test between the door frame and the first chair. It hides in posture, gaze, and how the space is arranged, for safety or for performance. Pass it, and the room leans in. Miss it, and the room protects itself. The mechanism is simple, nearly invisible, and within reach. The reveal approaches. Signals sharpen when stakes rise. Disagreement is the real audition. When views collide, a nervous system scans for safety. The eyes, the breath, the pace of your reply. Here is the move. Reflect the heart of what was said, then offer your angle in one sentence, then ask a clean question. So, stability matters more than novelty here. My view leans the other way. Small risks keep systems alive. What are we ignoring? You showed listening without surrender. Spine without spike. Respect opens the floor. Rule, reflect, reply, request. At dinner with friends, a topic turns hot. Two voices harden. One person goes quiet. Instead of a speech, you name the temperature and propose structure. We're heating up. Let's each take 1 minute, then pick 2 actions. You returned the room to order with gentle hands. Many women trust the person who can midwife structure without shaming emotion. In private, calibration is humbler. If words land wrong, resist explaining yourself into righteousness. Try this. What did you hear? Here's what was intended. What do you need now? Translation. Curiosity first, impact second, plan third. Old traumas often hide behind sudden silence or a sharp edge. You don't diagnose, you make room. Room calms fear. Rule. Curiosity beats defense. Practice the micro yes and micro no. Micro yes. Have 10 minutes now. Deeper dive tomorrow. Micro no. Can't make Thursday. Available Sunday afternoon. Small, clear boundaries thicken trust because they show a person who won't say yes and resent it later. Resentment is a delayed no wearing a smile. Clean no today prevents dirty yes tomorrow. A money moment often tests steadiness. The check arrives. If the plan is unclear, you lead without theater. Happy to take this one, next time yours. If you prefer splitting now, that works too. Consent wrapped around generosity. You didn't posture. You offered options. The point is not a rule about paying. It's the calm cadence of handling logistics without heat. Rule. Logistics need no drama. Another scenario. A friend confides about someone not in the room. Triangulation, pulling a third person into two-person tension, destroys trust. Slow it cleanly. Happy to listen. If we're solving, let's include them when ready. You refused the secret coalition. Women note who builds bridges and who builds gossip loops. In DMs or comments, you will see bait. Prove your view. Laced with contempt. Don't swing at every pitch. Not a debate I'm entering. Wishing you well. Then mute, not war. Public restraint is a private asset. Rule. Steward attention. Breath remains the first tool. Use a 2-breath reset on any spike, surprise, irritation, desire. Breathe out twice, longer than the inhale, through the nose if possible. Shoulders fall, jaw loosens, voice drops half a step. 2 breaths buy you the space to choose action instead of reaction. Epictetus again. Control what is yours. Let the rest pass. Breath is yours. Family holiday, late night, fatigue sharpening edges. An uncle corrects your choices with a smirk. Old younger self scripts itch to perform or retreat. You stay adult, hearing your view, not adopting it. Pass the salad? Neutral tone, warm eyes, small redirect. The room learns. Boundaries live here, and they come without punishment. Rule. Be brief, be kind, be done. Now attraction surfaces more plainly. Desire can be named without pressure. There's chemistry here. Pace matters to me. 12 syllables that keep dignity on both sides. If the answer is slow or unsure, you honor it with action, not assault. Trust grows in the soil of respected pace. Body language carries ancient meaning. Palms uncuffed from pockets signal openness without jazz hands. Weight balanced over midfoot signals rest, not readiness to bolt. Elbows off the table when another speaks signal availability. No melodrama, just clean geometry. The body says, "You are safe here," or it says nothing and makes the other guess. Rule. Geometry over theatrics. Remember steelmanning, stating the strongest version of someone's view before offering yours. Define it in plain terms to yourself. Respect first, then differ. So the worry is that speed will break quality. If that's the fear, a smaller pilot could test the risk. You preserved dignity while moving toward a decision. Few signals read warmer than respect under disagreement. What if anger is needed? Anger can be clean, a guard dog, not a wildfire. Someone disrespects your companion at a bar. You step between with shoulders relaxed, voice even, eyes steady. Not okay, we're done here. Then you move. No theatrics, no debate. Clean anger ends scenes. Dirty anger feeds them. Rule: end scenes, don't star in them. Sleep, nutrition, and movement are unglamorous but decisive. Exhaustion mimics contempt. Hydration lowers edge. Strength training teaches the body to hold weight. That posture carries into conversation. This isn't self-improvement theater. It's maintenance of the instrument you play in every room. Marcus wrote about tending the ruling faculty, mind and character, as a daily practice. Your routines are signals long before your words. A workplace escalation, a deadline slips, leadership wants culprits. The room looks for sacrifice. You give process, not scapegoats. Bottleneck was review time. Adjust cadence or add reviewer. Decision: the storm looks for a face to blame. You hand it a system to fix. Women remember who kept their names off the altar of panic. Rule: fix systems, not people. Dating again. The evening ends at the door. You don't hover. Enjoyed tonight. Texting tomorrow by noon to set Tuesday or Wednesday. Your call. Then the exit is clean. A step back, a smile that reaches the eyes, and departure. The promise the next day is kept exactly as spoken. Reliability is romance that grows interest, not spectacle that burns it. Gossip returns in subtler dress, self-deprecation masquerading as humility. Don't worry, it's just me. That line places a burden on the other person to lift you. Trade it for, glad to be here. Humility is truth, not smallness. True confidence is quiet enough to listen. Real humility is strong enough to stand. Rule: humility without self-erasure. The threshold signal draws closer. It is older than language and obvious once named. It hides in 3 moves made the second you cross into a new space. First, orient to the environment before you claim a spot. Second, ask one micro permission about the space itself. Third, place one object in a way that proves containment. Done well, the entire room relaxes without knowing why. The precise choreography is next. Here is the reveal. The hidden test between the door frame and the first chair is a 3-beat choreography that broadcasts safety before a single story is told. First, orient to the room. 2 calm breaths. Eyes scan for exits, obstacles, and openings. Step half a pace aside so others can pass. This says, attention includes the environment, not only the self. Second, ask a micro permission about the space or pace. Shoes on or off. Is here good, or do you prefer the window? Start now or after you finish that. This says, autonomy is respected. Third, place one object to prove containment. Phone face down and away, bag tucked behind your chair, jacket on the backrest instead of sprawled across the second seat. This says, no claim on territory, no demand for attention, no hidden urgency. 3 beats, 10 seconds, centuries old. Rule: orient, ask, anchor. Watch how it plays in a living room. You enter, pause at the threshold for one breath, step aside to clear the doorway, lift a hand in greeting. Good to be here. Shoes off? You move where directed. Set your phone away from the social center. Angle your chair 10 degrees so no one feels trapped squarely in your shoulders. Conversations flow toward you because your presence removes friction. Women trust what makes rooms kinder. A restaurant scene. The host gestures vaguely. You glance at your companion's face, then ask, window or quieter corner? The eyes brighten toward the corner. At the table, you take the seat that faces the room, so the other doesn't have to monitor the door. You set water within reach for both, not just yourself. No speech about chivalry, just small architecture. Safety is often a table set well. Rule: make the room easy. Workplace lobby, interview day. You arrive a few minutes early, stand with posture soft and tall, hands visible. Is now the right time, or would you prefer after your 2:05? The receptionist relaxes. So do you. In the room, you rest your notebook on the table's edge, rather than erecting a paper fortress. When the interviewer finishes a sentence, you wait a clean second before replying. Presence without pressure feels like competence without brag. Why does this pass the test? Because the psyche scans three things instantly. Do you see the environment? Do you see others as ends, not means? Are you in charge of your own impulses? Orientation proves the first. Micro-permission proves the second. Anchoring proves the third. The shadow, the disowned parts, stops leaking when impulses are named and contained. Individuation, not becoming perfect, but becoming whole, shows up as steadiness, not certainty. Women trust steadiness. Rule: contain, don't control. A quick counterexample teaches fast. Enter like a whirlwind. Claim the best chair. Toss the phone between you and the other person. Speak before the room sees you. The body says, compete with me. Trust evaporates. No amount of wit will fix what the entrance broke. The test works digitally too. Orientation is reading the tone of a thread before posting. Micro-permission is open to a quick thought. Anchoring is sending one crisp paragraph and then leaving the app, not hammering with follow-ups. The same archetypal signals travel through a screen. Order, respect, containment. Rule: one move at a time. Now take the choreography into conflict. Orientation: name the temperature. Feels tense. Permission: want to slow this or take 5? Anchor: place the phone down. Lean back an inch. Drop shoulders. You didn't argue your goodness. You proved it by making the space safer. Epictetus would approve. Control what is yours. Breath, posture, choices, and let the rest be judged by time. A family kitchen. 3 conversations overlap. A pot simmers. A cousin pokes at your choices. You scan the scene. Ask, need a hand or space? Then you turn off a noisy fan before speaking, or you open a window to lower the heat, literally. Your words ride on calmer air. Rule: change the air. What about attraction rising fast? Desire can remain clean within this frame. Orientation: sense her pace and the room's privacy. Permission: is touch welcome? Anchor: if yes, a light, brief touch, and then a step back to show the leash is on your own impulse. If no, a simple, thanks for saying so, and a warm pivot to the next topic. The nervous system learns you won't trade respect for momentum. Keep a simple inner oath. No performance bargain. The bargain sounds like, if you trust me, then I'll be kind. Flip it. Be kind without demanding trust on a schedule. Seneca's wisdom applies. Much suffering begins in imagination. Do the right small thing in the real room, not the grand right thing in a future dream. Trust, like sleep, arrives when chased the least. Rule: do small good now. There is a deeper layer beneath technique. When composure comes from fear, an armor against being seen, it grows brittle. When composure comes from acceptance, the shadow included, it grows warm. That warmth is not chatter. It is the sense that nothing wild must be managed for you to remain yourself. Women do not require perfection. They require the felt sense that a storm can pass through you without turning you into a storm. Picture the end of an evening. You walk to the door together. Energy soft. Orientation. Note the quiet street, the time. Permission. Text when you're safely in. Anchor. Reaching out tomorrow by noon to plan next week, if that still feels right to you. Then the exit is decisive and unhurried. Reliability tomorrow makes warmth tonight trustworthy. Rule. End clean, begin clean. The wider promise of these signals is freedom. Freedom from chasing validation. Freedom to choose rooms that match your standards. Freedom to speak truth with a soft mouth and a strong spine. Jung would call it more of you coming home. The Stoics would call it living according to nature, mind leading impulse, virtue leading appetite. Either way, it's the posture of someone who has nothing to prove and everything to offer. Carry one last image. Imagine stepping through any doorway, like a quiet lighthouse. Aware of the shore, respectful of the boats, anchored against the weather. No fanfare, just light. The room learns quickly that your presence is a harbor. Trust follows like the tide. Next, step further. Learn the tiny tells that someone is starting to trust you. The shoulder unhooking, the breath lengthening, the voice dropping half a step, and the one tell that says the body still doesn't feel safe. That map is ahead.